Going back to Maisie a bit, can you really blame her for what she did? Put yourself in her shoes. She was under a lot of emotional stress a child could take in one night. The one who cared for her the most was murdered. The mother figure who was by her side since birth was kicked out of her life. She discovered that she wasn't a naturally born human, and the next person close to her shamed her for being what she is. And the creatures that were made the same way she was are being killed off for not being natural. Of course, she would be sympathetic to them and release them.
Did my mother ever visit the park?
Once. A long time ago. She would have saved them too, you know.
It might have been on an impulse, but she's a child after all. Children are impulsive and don't get wary of what they do until it's too late, even if it was for the best intentions.
With the best intentions. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
Bear in mind, while Maisie made a very risky decision, she's not the only one to blame here, which is something many people seem to ignore just to get the excuse of demonizing her and make her the sole person to call the absolute worst. You have all those who bought the dinosaurs from the auction and shipped them overseas. You still have embryos smuggled and shipped to another secret location. Am I the only one who remembers this point? Those who attended the auction and bought the dinosaurs and shipped them the moment they won the bid are also to be blamed. Unlike Maisie, who released the dinosaurs in an impulsive yet selfless act, those people bought them for their selfish reasons, and if history will repeat itself, they will get the same disasters in their countries.
This prototype is worth $28 million right now. Relax, we'll make some more. And so will they.
But please, keep pointing your fingers at just one person. Those who came to a black market? Pfft, who cares about them? It's this one traumatized girl is the criminal. I would not be surprised if they're the same people who take pride in something disgusting as this. What's next? You're going to tell me it was Stars' fault the world uses umbrellas BOWs? It was philanthropy's fault there are nanomachines in every soldier in the world? That it was Tony Stark's fault that he gave Thanos a little welcome to Earth present? Which led him to get his PTSD? Which led him to create Ultron? Which led to the destruction of Sokovia? Which led to the Civil War? Which led to splitting the Avengers apart? Which led to their defeat by Thanos? Which led to the destruction of half the universe as payback for that present? Because by your logic, it's all Tony Stark's fault. But it's okay. At the same time, we can forgive a megalomaniac who led an army to invade our world and dethroned his father and plotted to kill his brother because he said sorry and made a pointless heroic sacrifice. That makes everything awful he did A-okay.
Your reasoning is hardly logical.
This is another theme the franchise has been going with since the first novel, that doesn't get attention because everybody was focused only on the dinosaurs. The theme of shared responsibility. By the end of the novel, when the characters were leaving the island, everyone was asked, who is in charge? Are you the one in charge? Nobody is in charge. This franchise was never black and white. It was all gray. Everybody made morally ambiguous decisions that either made a short-term effect or long-term effect. Lots of decisions were made with good intentions, all ended setting paths to a multitude of bad events. Either it was planned that way from the start, or unintentional branching domino effects resulted from rash decisions.
Who authorized you to do this?
You did?
You didn't ask for reality, you asked for more tea.
I never asked for a monster!
Monster is a relative term.
You betrayed a dying man for money.
Claire, I admire your idealism, but we both exploited these animals. At least I have the integrity to admit it.
I never, ever did
You
anything
authorized the
remotely
creation of the
illegal.
Indominus Rex. You exploited a living thing in a cage for money. How is that different, huh? And you, the man who proved raptors can follow orders. You never thought about the applications of your research, Owen? How many millions a trained predator might be worth?
Every decision ended up leading to bigger things, and no single person to blame here. Everybody shares one huge responsibility to everything happened for over 25 years. Many people aren't aware of this, but Jurassic Park and many of Michael Crichton's books are cautionary tales, warning signals under the guise of a story. Characters in every single one of these movies did at least one stupid or irresponsible action, but that's the point of cautionary tales. They are built on your characters doing things you know they are wrong, so you know they are wrong. To the general public, especially those who only saw the movies, Jurassic Park made the idea of bringing back dinosaurs to the modern world to be a great idea, and they put a lot of emphasis on the wonder of the dinosaurs. Michael Crichton didn't write it that way. His novel focused heavily on how this is a bad idea and it's doomed to fail because chaos theory and all of this. The immortal line of this franchise,
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
applies to many of the situations here. Just because you love nature, that doesn't mean you should recklessly release them to the wild without suffering consequences. Just because you think you'll be safe from approaching restricted areas by not getting too close to them, that doesn't mean nothing from inside will reach you. Just because you give a certain task to someone, that doesn't mean you give them the full freedom in their job without questioning how they do it. And it's the same here. Just because these are endangered animals, that's not an excuse to irresponsibly release them in areas inhabited by man in an environment that was not meant for them. And this movie does not paint that as a great idea either. If you'll notice, Owen never said that Claire should press the button. All what he says is,
Claire, be careful. We're not on an island anymore. Claire, you press that button, there is no going back.
and even after we see Claire closing the cover, he doesn't say you made the right choice. Same goes when Maisie opened the door. Apart from the music that tells us it's okay the dinosaurs aren't going to die, Owen and Claire are not amused. They're not running to Maisie, hugging her and telling her she's a good girl with huge smiles on their faces. They're just standing there with the oh crap faces on them. Even after going through this, the movie is still painting this situation as a terrible one. Not one of them is saying this is good.
How many times do you have to see the evidence? How many times must the point be made? We're causing our own extinction. Too many red lines have been crossed, and our home has in fundamental ways been polluted by avarice and political megalomania.
Unlike the ending of Jurassic Park 3 where they try to make this ending like a good thing, Fallen Kingdom presents it in a more ambiguous situation. You see Maisie's face here, but it's not clear if these are the looks of regret or indifference. Certainly not the look of someone proud of what they did. This is one of the things I like in movies such as these. They give you multiple views and opinions of different sides, but they don't tell you which side is the right one. They give the chance for everyone to give their opinion on this situation without giving a clear, straight answer and expect us to accept it.
In the course of your education, you have been taught to look for the right answer. But you also must know that in life, many times, the right answer is that there isn't one.
Just because our main characters, or the ones we are supposed to root for, make a decision, doesn't always mean it's the right decision. Some sides may have won in their parts, like some dinosaurs getting purchased and owned by someone out there, or managing to save the dinosaurs from death by poisonous gases. But in the greater scope of this world, there are no winners. Everybody loses. And while I know people are taking issues with this moment, I personally don't mind how it went. It raises the questions of ethics and the morality of the situation, especially that it was done by a character we are meant to sympathize with, and since it did make everyone question it, that means it's doing something right, and I doubt it would be the same if one of the villains did this or the dinosaurs were released by accident. But again, this is a situation that doesn't have a correct answer. It all depends on how you take it.